Hey guys, in this video I want to go over some of the changes I've made to my Rakiata's Rage Vortex Slayer in order to optimize the build for non-budget. It's still not fully min-maxed with mirror gear or anything, but I've put in probably another 30 to 40 divines or so. And I'm currently level 99, and at this point the build is pretty damn good for boss rushing, either just Ether or Exarch influence or Guardian maps with Maven influence. Of course, you can still do all Ubers, and it's really good for like Sanctum. But yeah, it's more well-rounded, and I've pretty much managed to almost double the DPS, also almost double the movement speed, and I've added more AoE and explosions for better clear, and I got full elemental and stun ailment immunity and stun immunity. And yeah, if you want to check out the POB, I'll put that in the description. But yeah, I'm just gonna go over. I'll start with the tree, and then the gear, and then the gems. Okay, so the tree, starting off, first thing, I removed this totem wheel down here. So instead of having that totem mastery, I now have these boots instead. Dawn Strider, and yeah, removed this wheel, removed Iron Reflexes and Unwavering Stance, but I got stun immunity elsewhere, like I mentioned. And with those points, I pretty much put them into this cluster right here. So it's an elemental large cluster with these three notables: Prismatic Heart, Sadist, and Widespread Destruction. And then I have a crit medium cluster here with Basics of Pain and Quick Getaway. And then I've decided to put in some forbidden jewels, so I got Arena Challenger from Gladiator. Arena Challenger gives you 10 Challenger charges that give 2% more attack and movement speed, so it's a multiplier for your attack and movement speed. And I also decided to incorporate Blood and Sand because in order to get the charges, you need to either kill enemies in blood stance, kill enemies in sand stance, or hit a rare or unique target in blood stance. So I put in blood and sand in the build so you can switch between them. Otherwise, your default is just blood stance. So yeah, that's a lot of damage. I think it's the best one for damage and definitely the best one for speed. So that's the first change. And then I've also decided to get a Makanga tattoo here. So that requires 8 adjacent passive skills to be allocated. So I decided to connect down here instead of up here. And I moved this. I used to have a Fortify node here on beef, but now I got Fortify support instead, and I got this onslaught on hit here. So yeah, honored tattoo over here, honored tattoo of the Berserker, and then honored tattoo of the Makanga. And here, take these two small nodes right here in order to have 8 connected, and you get +2 max res. And then I've also removed the ones I had here, but like I said, this one makes up for it. And then I'm connecting here on the side instead of here, and I'm connecting to the ranger side from duelist through here, so I have this green nightmare over here from this jewel socket. What this does is it gives you suppressed chance based on elemental and cold resist in the radius. So you just use tattoos to get cold resist on the dex nodes, and all resist on the strength node and int node over here. And yeah, also this one here, just because I need the extra suppression in order to hit 100%. So yeah, here you get your suppression. You take this little wheel here, it's pretty good damage. And then I also took this jewel right here, 3 points for so I could put in Storm Shroud. And then I have a bunch of shock avoidance on my belt and this jewel right here. But yeah, a little bit more on that later. We have full elemental immunity there. We have stun immunity from, I think, 5 of these smaller tattoos. Avoid being stunned. Okay, yeah, a couple of those. And this one, Heart of Oak, and this small node. and just get 100%. And yeah, for the other tattoos, yeah, it's just get spell suppression if you need it. I think I only have one spell suppression, and then the rest is just from here. Of course, I have rolls on my gear as well. But yeah, I think here I have a random life node, Warcry, cooldown recovery rate, Chaos Res. You have some ones that you can play around with, whatever you prefer. You could use like, well, if you need resist, I think I have one resist here, yeah. You could have explode as well if you want more consistent explosions. Right now I just have Oriath's End. But yeah, you have some flex points to play around with, like poison immunity. I like to have it, even though I have positive chaos res. I think it's kind of nice. But if you wanted to do Ubers, you can of course remove this and just take something else. You could get less crit damage here or something. Or if you were lower level, say you were like level 94 or something, you could remove this damage cluster here, I would say, or damage wheel over here, this crit wheel, or this one. Yeah, I pretty much only have this one because I have a pretty good lethal pride. I used to have intimidate over here, so I had to move it over here, and then I just got some life, crit multiplier, some random good stuff. Life reg is pretty good as well because that gives us rage regeneration. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the tree. For the gear, like I said, I have Dawn Striders with this enchant right here. So yeah, this one is really nice. Since we can't get the Totem Mastery, you just get this instead, and then you only run Ancestral Protector, no War Sheaf. So that's the first change, and then I switched out the belt Immortal Flesh for Kikisaru as my source of the bulk of my rage regeneration, and this one is enough. Once you put it has 3 per level, but with fertile catalysts you get up to 3.6, and that's enough. I have some extra on my chest that I randomly slammed. I got lucky, but yeah, this one is enough. And then instead of Immortal Flesh, I have this Stygian Vice. So you can craft this yourself with, I think it's Torment Essence, the ones that give chance to avoid being shocked. And then you need to have that on your hypnotic or on your Abyss Jewel as well. And just as long as it adds up to 100%, you're good. So I have 48 here and 52 on the belt. So together with Storm Shroud, that's full elemental ailment immunity. And then, yeah, I got some chaos resist on this chest. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. Well, yeah, I slammed the life as well, but you don't really need the life rig. It's nice, but it's basically just quality of life. And then chaos res, life, and armor on the belt is nice. You don't really need the armor as well. I would say prioritize the life and the chaos res. And of course, having an open prefix to craft elemental damage with attacks is good. And of course, shock avoidance is mandatory. Then I got this little corruption on my Calm Spirit just to get some levels on my my auras. I think the best corruption is attack crit, but that one, it's not that expensive. It's like 4 divines or something. You could also get attack speed, is pretty good, I think. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. My helm is the exact same taming and Rakiata stance. Yeah, not too many changes to the gear. I switched in Oriath's End, and I'm always running a granite flask. So that's because I have facing on my Abyss Jewel. This one only cost me like 80c, so it's not too bad. If you don't get facing, I would recommend getting facing on kill on your Abyss Jewel, but if you didn't, you could use a quartz flask instead of granite for mapping. But I would say try to get facing on kill, get a granite permanently, and then for your final slot at the end you use Oriath's End for mapping, and then for like Ubers you still switch out the last one with either a Sapphire Flask or a Topaz Flask. depending on which Uber bus you're doing. But for mapping, yeah, this one. Or you have sand, it gives explosions, and yeah, it's a nice. It's nice to get some better clear with the explosions, even if you're boss rushing. Killing more mobs is always nice. And then for the final segment, I guess the gems. So this setup is exactly the same, the mark and hit setup. Like I mentioned, I got in blood and sand here with enlighten, and then I put precision with arrogance, and I took out a couple of gems. So I took out, since I'm using Dawnstrider, I took out multiple totems and Ancestral Warsheaf to begin with. That made room for this, basically. And then I took out life tap from this cast from damage taken setup, because I noticed it's not really needed. It costs, I think, 25 mana. We have more than enough mana for it to go off. The other spells don't cost a lot of mana, so yeah, it's fine. Your Molten Shell will go off even without life tap. And then for this last setup, I got Enhance. You should probably get Enhance level 4, but it's like, this one is like 40C and the other one is like 5 Divines, so up to you. And I'm using Enhance with Berserk, Blood Rage, Intimidating Cry, and then this new Phantasmal Ancestral Protector. It's pretty cheap, but it's a pretty decent damage upgrade getting Phantasmal Ancestral Protector. Again, and all this Ancestral Totem effect kind of stacks up with, you have the Enchant, you have the alternate quality here, and yeah, it's pretty good. And Enhance is pretty decent. If you 6-link this, you could get some cooldown reduction on your Flame Dash. I don't really care about it. And you don't want to. Maybe you would have some mana problems if you linked it, so I'm fine with this setup. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you have questions or if you have ideas that you want to contribute, I have a forum guide up, or you can just post them on the YouTube. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll put some like boss kill at the end here, and yeah, feel free to also subscribe if you enjoyed the video.